Hello everyone and welcome to Casa Gredo. Sì, sì, perfetto. Sono acceso, vero? Sono acceso, vero? Ok, boh. Sì, bravo, sì. A prova del 9. Hello everyone and welcome to Hello everyone. And welcome today to Casa Gredo. I have accepted the invite by Anna Spinato Winery to host the event of today. Which has been producing wine since 52 and today the company is being run by Anna Spinato and her son Roberto, and we are here today for this event held in Casagredo Hotel in Venice, and the event is being streamed online on our YouTube channel. Casagredo Hotel was founded back in the 13th century, and the room we are today in is the main one of the hotel. We also want to say thank you to the hotel manager, Mrs. Lorenza Lain, who's a true ambassador in the world of Venice. This room is called a music room, and the ceiling was frescoed in the 15th century. And this room is spot on for events like ours today. A couple of days ago, there was exhibition of Galileo Galilei's masterpieces, and after Galileo's exhibition, we are here today for our event. I have the pleasure today to host this event, which started as a project some months ago, and I had the pleasure to know some time ago when I visited the company in Ponte di Piave. And it's our pleasure to welcome you and to tell you and let you know today's event and the whole project that this, let's say, small company um, has studied for today. During the pandemic, there have been two ideas, and one was to wait for the end of the pandemic, and the other one, the second one, was to study and find out something new. Today, Anna is here, as well as her son Roberto, along with other professionals of the wine industry. Today we are in Venice, but the event, as I said, is being live streamed worldwide on our YouTube channel. So, along with guests present here in Venice, we also have guests online. We also have sommelier, Christian Maitan, who will be tasting the wines for us and for you too. Anna Spinato, Venice excellence in the world. I'm gonna read because I'm emotional. The volume has been turned on. 2 years ago, at the beginning of the pandemic, I reassured all my customers, telling them that we were along with them to overcome the pandemic and be ready for it. What we could do was studying and realizing new techniques and new innovations. And that's what we want to share with you all together. Thank you for your help and the friendship you are showing to us every day. Thank you, Anna. I'm getting emotional too. The first relator is going to be Mr. Fabio Tavazzani, who will be telling us about the Prosecco as a worldwide phenomenon. I wanted to entitle my speech The Prosecco Phenomenon because this wine has truly proved to be a phenomenon of worldwide significance and diffusion, but also a phenomenal reality of absolute economic, cultural, and landscape importance for a large and developed portion of the territory in the northeast of Italy. In this slide, we can see some data testifying the importance and extent of the phenomenon. I won't be stopping to comment on them because they speak for themselves. We observed a massive increase in the number of Prosecco bottles, which from 142 million in 2010 reached 500 million in 2020. The image below shows the same growth dynamics by indicating the bottled hectoliters and tells us about a growth of 157% from 2012 to 2020. Here, we won't stop to analyze the graph, which shows us that most of this increase is attributable to the sparkling type of Prosecco, which from 2012 to 2020 grew by as much as 254%, even to the treatment of the other types. But now let's analyze the situation updated to 2020 and have a better look to some numbers that tell us about the phenomenon. 500 million bottles, of which more than 83% sparkling wine, 2.4 billion in revenue, 400 million bottles sold abroad, all over the world. If that's not a phenomenon based on these numbers, what else could it be? The 69% of these bottles are distributed in modern distribution, the 20% in Horeca, only 1% in the company. Europe takes the lion's share with a share of 75% or more of export. The role of North America is important. The following representation illustrates the same phenomenon, starting from the three most representative sparkling wines of France, Italy, and Spain. It is easy and immediate to understand that Prosecco has undergone a much more contained reduction in export than its competitors, so much so that in Germany, France, and Switzerland, the import of Prosecco has even increased. This testimonies to the power of Prosecco, which is able to overcome crisis moments all over the world that we have faced and overcome eventually. Now we can see some aggregate data referring to the sum of the import of three countries. The table demonstrates two main concepts. The first one, from 2014 to 2019, the volumes and above all the import values of Italian sparkling wines grew much more than Champagne and Cava in Germany, in the UK and the USA. The second thing is that the 2020 pandemic has led to a reduction in import in these three nations. However, Prosecco in volumes has almost maintained its positions, which means acquiring market share, and in values it has suffered a bit more, but those were only temporary and exceptional price operations. aimed at not losing market share. Now let's look ahead towards the future, and we do so by looking more precisely at the UK market, which offers us useful but also very representative indications of the prospects for the markets of Germany and the US. The graphic representation you can see tells us that the 22% of British consumers plan to increase the Prosecco consumption in 2021. Only the 10% appear pessimistic and 68% believe that they will remain constant. A comforting fact, and in any case, much better than the prospects indicated for the other sparkling wines. Still in this logic, considering that there's a significant share of consumers who think of increasing their consumption of Prosecco, the consequent question is, what are the factors that could induce you to increase consumption? We can see the decisive attraction of the reserve version, which seems to attract the attention of many consumers, but also the role of packaging, which, let's remember this, is decisive to guide the choices of consumers in large-scale distribution. And before, we have seen that 69% of Prosecco is sold in large-scale distribution. Therefore, the attractiveness of packaging turns out to be a determinant element for choice and consumption. And let's keep in mind this information because it is paramount. And then Roberto, Anna's song, will help us to better understand how this observation has directed the product strategy of the Spinato company. I will add just one observation, concluding the analysis of these data on the phenomenon by taking a look at the strategies to fuel the recovery. These data were offered by Intesa San Paolo Bank and other researchers. Which are the strategies to recover from COVID? The first one appears to continue to pursue export because the results show us that we're able to conquer market share compared to other sparkling wines in a market that appears, however, characterized by a significant average growth. Another strategy appears to be that of allocating more actions and investments to the Far East markets, which offers market potential that is not exploited. For example, the map tells us that Italian sparkling wines, in Japan, Singapore, and China, as well as Australia and the Netherlands, have a market potential of around 70%, while the market share is around 5%, which is absolutely minimal. Then there's the theme of sustainability that we saw a little while ago, and which comes back, as well as organic farming. The last strategy post COVID is to win the challenge with the e-commerce. 2020 has certainly triggered a strong change and a widespread in the use of virtual interaction tools, dramatically developing online purchases. We must we mustn't see online commerce as an enemy to be fought, but as a fact, a sales channel to be integrated with others and to be valued for the contribution that it can offer. The second phenomenon I'm going to talk about is Anna Spinato. Let's have a look at it. In terms of productions, we can see a decisive focus on white grapes vines and on glare especially. The 20% of the production is organic, and this number is in continuous growth, as demanded by the markets. As for the types of wines, we can find a good 65% of sparkling wines, of which the 40% are organic. Among sparkling wines, the 60% of production are DOC and the 20% are DOCG. In terms of bottle sizes, the 4% of the whole production has a format which is out of standards, and among them we see the 200 ml, which is the 75% of the out of standards. In terms of export, the main focus is in Europe and in Northern Europe. Paramount is the 30% of North America, as well as the 10% in Japan. Getting back to the pandemic, the results of Anna Spinato in 2020 must be analyzed referring to the system's results. The company sales, in terms of value, have indicated a trend in line with the previous one. In terms of single markets, different trends have been seen from the standard, but what Anna Spinato did is react immediately to the different markets. Let's have a look at the strategies that Anna Spinato has developed to manage the emergency. Because it means nonsense to cry and complain with no reaction. These strategies have been divided into three different ways. New solutions for the current importance and customers. These new solutions were, for example, small formats for a single use, spot on for the safety in COVID times, non-alcoholic sparkling drinks, premium references, as well as the newness of Prosecco DOC Rosé. We also try to find new importance for new distribution channel in existing markets. For instance, importers specialized in the e-commerce or focusing on large-scale distribution, as well as focused on small distribution, and then eventually new geographical markets to get some more space in new and important markets. What we did to gain all of that. We have installed a new room for the video calls. And we also planned video calls with importers, online wine tastings based, of course, on the shipment of the samples to the customers before that. And we also did our best to keep our customers and importers updated of what was going on inside the company. We also focused on social media in all the different markets. At the end of the day, we have shipped more than 1,000 wine bottles as samples all over the world for the tastings. And this can testimony that Anna Spinato can be her own ambassador in the world independently by the moving limits we had because of the pandemic. We have gained two new strategic markets, which are really different one from the other in terms of development. The first one is Poland and the second one is Nigeria. In terms of products, we saw a growth in the sales of mini Prosecco, the small format, the non-alcoholic sparkling grape juice, Valdobbiadene Prosecco DOCG, as well as Cartizze DOCG, Moscato, the sweet Moscato, which have fascinated all the geographical markets, and then in the end, the Prosecco DOC Rosé, the newness that everybody loves. What Anna Spinato is going to do in the short medium term? Of course, she's going to focus on sustainable wines as well as organic wines, which is something that people are always more looking for. We also want to collaborate with our importers and our customers even more to increase the competence, the professionality of our customers. We want to push our brand in North America, and we are really confident with that. And eventually, we've been doing our best to answer all our customers' needs. Thank you very much and enjoy the event. Thank you, Mr. Tavazzani, for this detailed analysis of the Prosecco phenomenon, and also for the focus on the export for wine and for Anna Spinato Winery. Then there's also the focus on sustainability, which is something getting really, really popular nowadays. We're now ready to this restart. And Anna Spinato, I'm sure, is doing her best to follow these new paths. Thank you, Mr. Tavazzani. The slides you're gonna see now will deal with the history of Prosecco. I don't want to bother you with that, and it's gonna be really, really brief. We are today here in Venice, and as you may know, the whole Veneto region focuses on Venice. This material was given to me by Mr. Tavazzani. Thank you for that. Let's step a little bit back. We're talking of 4 slides overall. The, the name Prosecco is the name of the wine, but it's also the name of a town, a small one near Trieste. Literally, Prosecco means deforested corridor, And to understand the connection of this word with the vine, we must remember that in ancient times, the cultivation of the vine was preceded by the deforestation of wooded areas. The history of Prosecco began there, along the sunny slopes that from Prosecco descend towards the sea, sheltered from the cold borough winds. We already have evidence of this wine called Puccino with Pliny the Elder, who, telling the story of Empress Livia, the wife of Emperor Octavian Augustus, who died in 29 AD at 87 years, an age that was a true record for those times, told that Livia had managed to reach that venerable age thanks to the qualities of the legendary Puccino, which was much loved by the Romans and originally came from the Prosecco area. This The first quotes of the toponym Prosec date back to the mid 1200s and refer precisely to the lease of 4 vineyards. And we can read that by the writings of the famous Dr. Galeno. At the beginning of the 1700s, Prosecco becomes the wine par excellence and begins to be widely known as a pleasant, versatile, and not too alcoholic wine produced in the northeast of Italy. The modern history of Prosecco begins in the early 1800s with the cultivation of the Glera grapes. In 1969, there was the recognition of the DOC. In 2009, the Conegliano Valdobbiadene Prosecco obtained the DOCG, and the Prosecco of 9 provinces in Veneto and Friuli gets marked with a DOC. The last chapter, the most recent one, dated August 2020, when also the Prosecco Rosé was given the DOC recognition in the sparkling version. For now, this is the last page of a great story, and it is also a magnificent reality that is already proving yet another great success. You're now gonna watch a video about the territory. You will see a map of the Prosecco areas.
Un'area geografica del nord-est Italia tra le regioni di Veneto e Friuli Venezia Giulia, includendo 9 province di queste 2 regioni. Ma il cuore produttivo della glera, che è il vitigno principale che va poi a formare il vino Prosecco, è qui in provincia di Treviso e, più in particolare, la macroarea Conegliano Valdobbiadene si trova in questa piccola zona, conosciuta soprattutto per il suo Prosecco superiore DOCG, ma è stata anche recentemente notata dall'UNESCO che l'ha nominata Patrimonio Mondiale dell'Umanità. Perché? Perché quest'area è un grande esempio di come l'insediamento umano sia stato in grado di valorizzare l'ambiente circostante. È un vero e proprio paesaggio culturale dove i viticoltori sono diventati anche paesaggisti e si sono alleati con la natura per creare quello che alla fine è uno scenario unico al mondo. All'interno della macroarea del Conegliano Valdobbiadene incontriamo questa piccola sottozona di 100 ettari che è conosciuta come la sottozona del Cartizze. È in questa sottozona che l'uva glera e quindi poi il Prosecco trova la sua massima espressione. Se volessimo definire l'Arge Cartizia in poche parole, potremmo dire che quella del Cartizia rappresenta una vera e propria enclave di ricerca della perfezione inserita all'interno di un'area che è quella del Conegliano Valdobbiadene, dove c'è già comunque un'assoluta eccellenza. Non dimentichiamoci poi che poco distante c'è un'altra area dove viene prodotto il Prosecco di OCG, che è quella dei Colli Asolani, dove si produce appunto solo Prosecco di OCG. Dopo aver esplorato le zone del Prosecco DOC, vi chiederete in tutto ciò dove si colloca l'azienda Anaspinato. L'azienda Anaspinato si colloca qui a Ponte di Piave, la sua sede storica è a Ponte di Piave, che è un piccolo paese appunto della provincia di Treviso, caratterizzato dalla presenza appunto del fiume Piave che influisce in queste zone tantissimo sulla viticoltura, rendendola una zona a grande vocazione vinicola, dove il vitigno principe è sicuramente raboso, ma dove anche la glera riesce ad esprimersi in maniera eccellente. Quindi il Prosecco DOC Anaspinato dove nasce? Nasce da un attento studio sui diversi suoli, perché Anna sa benissimo che suoli diversi danno proprietà organolettiche differenti al vino, e quello che lei ha cercato appunto è una combinazione che permetta di raggiungere quello che per lei poi è la perfezione del vino Prosecco. Quindi il Prosecco DOC Anaspinato è fatto per la maggioranza da uve provenienti dalla zona appunto del Piave, della provincia di Treviso, ma Anna si è spinta anche un po' più in là, si è spinta fino al fiume Tagliamento, al confine tra Friuli e Venezia Giulia, dove i suoli ghiaiosi danno una spiccata struttura e mineralità. Il risultato quindi è un Prosecco DOC, glera 100%, di assoluta eccellenza, provare per credere.
We're now gonna show you another video about the agronomic techniques used by Anna Spinato Winery and everything concerning the territory, with a focus on the non-use of pesticides. Here is the agronomist Davide.
Buongiorno, sono Davide Genovese, agronomo dell'azienda Anna Spinato. Ci troviamo quest'oggi qui nella pianura trevigiana, in provincia di Treviso proprio, nella parte a ridosso del Montello e dei Colli Asolani, e siamo qui per parlare di Prosecco DOC. Prosecco DOC, quindi uve Clera, okay, allevate qui col sistema di qualità nazionale di produzione integrata, quindi seguendo proprio i canoni di questo sistema di certificazione, che prevede la riduzione dell'uso di alcuni prodotti antiparassitari per evitare poi che ci siano dei residui all'interno del vino stesso. Con l'azienda Anna Spinato abbiamo cercato di introdurre qualche riduzione in più, ad esempio l'utilizzo solo di sostanza organica per la concimazione dei nostri vigneti, quindi non uso di sostanze chimiche, l'eliminazione del diserbo, quindi solo lavorazioni che possono dare alla pianta la possibilità di espandere il proprio apparato radicale e di incamerare anche più acqua e sostanze nutrienti, evitando così anche stress idrici e migliorando proprio quella che è la performance del vigneto, e oltretutto cercare di far produrre alla pianta quello che effettivamente può produrre senza forzature. Tutto quello che noi cerchiamo di fare adesso e che facciamo nel nostro vigneto lo ritroviamo poi all'interno della nostra bottiglia, quindi nel nostro vino, con dei vini molto più espressivi, molto più pieni e sicuramente che hanno una marcia in più. Glera qui è allevata con la forma a Silvaux, che prevede lo sviluppo di un cordone permanente, quindi un cordone che rimarrà per tutto l'arco della vita della pianta, dal quale poi vengono presi 3 tralci, quindi 3 capi a frutto, 2 o 3 capi a frutto, che vengono rinnovati ogni anno. Da questi capi a frutto, come si può vedere, si sviluppano i tralci che daranno poi vita ai nostri grappoli di glera, no? Quindi quello che poi ci troveremo noi nel nostro bicchiere. In questo momento abbiamo appena eseguito la cimatura, quindi che è l'eliminazione della parte in eccesso dei tralci, dopo aver impalcato e quindi innalzato verso l'alto tutti i tralci. Questa tecnica ci dà la possibilità, oltre che dare aria appunto alla zona vicina al grappolo, fa sì che la pianta riesca a sviluppare quei tralci secondari che si chiamano femminelle, dal quale partirà delle foglie fresche che andranno a nutrire il nostro grappolo fino alla vendemmia. Attualmente il glera è a una fase di sviluppo circa di un grano di pepe. Da qui a 20 giorni, un mese circa, avremo l'inizio della fase di invaiatura, che è quel momento in cui il grappolo inizia ad ammorbidire e cambia colore, quindi poi da quella fase lì si avrà la maturazione per la metà di settembre circa. In quel momento si partirà quindi con la raccolta. Vendemmia, che per l'azienda Anna Spinato viene fatta solo esclusivamente a mano in questi vigneti, una raccolta fatta al mattino presto per evitare di portare dentro in cantina uve calde, quindi lavorare il prodotto fresco e per evitare fenomeni ossidativi e quindi rispettare appieno il prodotto, e la vendemmia che viene fatta con 2 passaggi: si fa una prima selezione e poi si ripassa a raccogliere quello che è stato lasciato indietro, quindi un gran rispetto del prodotto per avere appunto il massimo risultato poi anche in termini qualitativi nel vino che poi voi andrete a bere.
The next conference will be held among the vineyards. Now, Andrea Molin, the enologist, will be talking about the winery techniques. There's a video. Hello, I am Andrea Morlin, enologist and technical manager at Anna Spinato Winery. In collaboration with the agronomist Davide Genovese, who you saw in the previous video, and with the enologist Fiorenzo, who may be seen in these images, I coordinate all the company's production, from the vineyard to the finished bottle. When I met Anna 11 years ago, I was fascinated by the passion she manages to transmit for the world of wine and for her own wines. But before that, I was impressed and captivated by the love she has for this land, for her company, and for the respect and affection she shows every day to her customers now spread all over the world. Our project has the goal of bottling and bringing to your glasses territoriality, the typicality and uniqueness of our wines. To achieve this result, you need passion, intelligence, perseverance, investments in human resources, and investments in technology. Investments aimed at respecting the environment, to become an environmentally friendly company with zero impact. Projects that Anna Spinato has in the pipeline and will implement it soon. In this regard, I would like to remind you that our line of organic wines is among the most popular ones in North America, Canada, and Northern Europe. And not surprisingly, because Anna Spinato was one of the first companies to believe in organic wine. Other important investments have been made in the search for innovative technologies for the best transformation and conservation of the grapes, must, and wine. A sparkling wine is not made by chance. A success like the one of Prosecco showed by Mr. Tavazzani must be earned day by day in the winery. Being able to vinify delicate grapes such as Glera to make it a sparkling Prosecco, rich in pleasant aromas and flavors, while maintaining the shelf life and the pleasure of drinking a glass of wine is not easy at all. All this requires technology in the winery. Therefore, thermo-conditioned tanks for the refinement of base wines, pressurized tanks for processing the sparkling wine according to the Shama method, the one that most enhances the expression of sparkling Prosecco, non-invasive filtration and microbiological stabilization systems, all managed automatically and fully monitored day and night because nothing must slip out. In addition to the technological investments, we pay close attention to the knowledge of the biochemical processes that regulate the wine production. Only a continuous updating allows our team to be promptly prepared for each harvest, each second fermentation, each bottling. And here we want to restate the importance that the Spinato company confers to the training of its employees. Finally, I would like to point out that we work with one of the best bottling and packaging systems for sparkling wines. To protect the consumer, Roberto and his son strongly wanted the installation of a series of controls, such as the verification of the presence of foreign bodies in the bottle and the wine filling system that reduces the oxygen supply to zero during the filling, to the advantage of the shelf life of the wine. The controls installed also involve the packaging part, such as the system which verifies the correct position of the label and capsule or the presence of the correct legal indications. As Roberto always says, our attention towards improvement must never run out, and we must always be ready to face the challenges of innovation so that, I can already tell you, in August, when everyone will be on vacation, the new labeling machine will be installed. We're all convinced of the central importance of the intrinsic quality of wine, but here at Anna Spinato, we never ignore the value of the quality of the image, an essential element to compete and win the difficult challenges that the wine market gives us every day. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Morling. And it's my real pleasure to give the word to Mr. Roberto Furlani, who will be speaking along with Anna Spinato. And everyone is now waiting for what's inside that black box. Roberto belongs to the third generation of the Spinato family. The images of the winery looked like the ones we see on TV of the Ferrari company. Okay, Roberto, here you go. During these months of lockdown, which we all had to experience, unfortunately, I have thought for a long time about the strategy to adopt to face what I imagine as a sort of collective rebirth. Having overcome the concerns for my health and those of my loved ones, I wanted to live and interpret this epochal moment also as a manager of my company, without thinking of a revolution, which is not needed at the moment. Slowly, I realized that we needed an evolution, a signal capable of resonating loud and clear inside and outside the company, a decisive incentive and concrete help to our customers all over the world, in difficulty, like everybody else, but animated by energy and a firm will to work together for a great restart. Which was really hoped for. It was not easy to abandon the traditional eater made of trade fairs and travels. We had to work shifts in the office to ensure social distancing. We had to work from home. We had to stop shaking the hands of our professional customers from all over the world. But I must admit that at least I had time to reflect and I started going and attending supermarkets, which were the only places you could go at the moment. And in supermarkets, I stopped along the shelves with hundreds of bottles. And I also must say that I that observing bottles has always been my obsession, something that I've always done, perhaps conditioned by the company I manage. But I have studied them even better, trying to focus on the label but also on the shape, on the color of the glass, on the type of capsule, and so on. Then I also carefully looked at the consumers doing their purchases, the different types of consumers, the middle-aged woman, the older man. And so I saw, appreciated, and understood how a new choice could be made. Nothing scientific, no statistical value, but certain signals are not difficult to understand. You don't need scientists to interpret them. I realized that some aspects of the image of our products were sending less attractive signals, just like the bottles of some competitors that were not even seen and remained on the shelves, at least until the next promotion. We're not like that. Anna Spinato has always been at the forefront of image and products, guaranteeing service quality to professional partners and constantly update these responses to the consumer's needs. Our evolution, our response to the pandemic had to start from here. From the reinterpretation of packaging in a modern and updated key. Here's this signal to give. At the end of 2020, I shared my will with Anna and our team. And at least initially, at the beginning, I must admit that it was greeted with a bit of fear. You will wonder, what fear? Oh yes, in fact, it is more than understandable because changing the dress of most of our wines, like Proseccos, I mean those wines that generate the most significant share of our sales volumes, implies a great challenge. And it must be said, the fear of no longer being recognized can be decisive in terms of projections and prospects for sales. But you can't even stand still and wait forever. So after many, many shared reflections, thanks to the help of our graphic designer Valentina, who is gifted and with a great sensitivity and talent, we started a whirlwind of tests based on precise guidelines which indicated the goal of developing a fresh and essential, elegant and refined, modern and innovative image. The launch of the new 2019 Prosecco DOC Rosé was the perfect opportunity to check the approval of many markets, very different from each other, for the new image. The satisfaction and success at the beginning from our own customers were immediate, beyond our expectations, to be honest, and gave us the energy and confidence necessary to continue the renovation project. So the whole story that we will soon discover begins with this intriguing and brand new sparkling rosé wine and its brand new dress. Now I'm going to open that black box with Anna, and I can already tell you that we won't find any rabbit, but the new bottles. and here you go. Now that we can all see these new bottles, I'm gonna let you watch a video of Valentina, the graphic designer, who lives in Tuscany and couldn't come here to Venice. So we went to Tuscany and visited her and shot the video for you. Thank you.
Buongiorno, è un vero piacere presentare Valentina Cresti, designer e creativa, fondatrice dello studio Valentina Cresti Associati.
Ciao.
Ciao Valentina, vuoi parlarci un po' del tuo lavoro e della tua squadra?
Allora, coordino un team piuttosto giovane ma altamente specializzato di creativi. Potrei dire che siamo dei semplici grafici, in realtà preferisco affermare che siamo dei consulenti di marketing che si avvalgono per la passione del design e della grafica per realizzare appunto questi progetti.
Volevo poi chiederti quali sono le fasi del processo creativo, come un'etichetta diventa etichetta.
Il processo è lungo ma è anche molto romantico da raccontare. Intanto nasce da una visione, no? In base a quello che l'azienda ci racconta, ci trasmette sia del mondo, no, aziendale, sia della propria visione dei prodotti, sia del prodotto stesso, inizio ad immaginarmi forme, colori oppure grafiche che andranno a rappresentare appunto il vino in questione. Detto questo, poi si inizia con il bozzetto vero e proprio, quindi con quello che è la messa su carta dell'idea. Non è semplicemente l'etichetta, perché quando si va a vestire un prodotto bisogna considerare l'aspetto completo, no? Tutto l'insieme, quindi il vetro, la sua forma, come la luce batte sulla bottiglia, il collarino, se c'è la capsula, scusate il mio toscano, la capsula, la frontale ma anche la retro, quindi tutto l'insieme dei oggetti che compongono la bottiglia, anche il vino stesso, devono danzare allo stesso ritmo.
Invece con Anna Spinato da quanto collabori?
Allora, il primo contatto con Anna l'abbiamo avuto nel 2019, quando abbiamo iniziato a parlare del Prosecco rosato.
E come ti sei trovata a collaborare con Anna e il figlio Roberto?
Molto bene, molto bene. Con Roberto devo dire ho un rapporto molto, diciamo ci sentiamo quasi tutti i giorni, ma questa poi alla fine è anche la cosa importante, perché è importante che ci sia un libero scambio con l'azienda per appunto riuscire a trasmettere anche noi stessi quello che è l'azienda all'interno del prodotto.
Trovi che Anna e Roberto ti abbiano guidato in questa cosa?
Molto, sì, è stato molto piacevole, interessante e costruttivo anche lavorare con loro.
Quindi tutto è iniziato col Prosecco Rosé e poi com'è proseguita?
Allora, sono stata chiamata a fare poi tutta la linea, no, delle DOC, quindi del Prosecco, Prosecco DOC, rosato, moscato e l'extra dry. Con Anna e Roberto durante il briefing parlavamo di bello fuori e buono dentro ed è questo quello che poi è successo.
Bene, quindi sei stata chiamata per realizzare tutte le etichette della linea del Prosecco DOC e come hai trovato l'ispirazione?
Allora, dal briefing è venuto fuori appunto la necessità, l'esigenza di comunicare la freschezza del prodotto, no? Queste bollicine fresche che ci accompagneranno durante l'estate e non solo, ma anche la necessità di comunicare la sartorialità, no? Il fatto a mano, tipico appunto di questa maestria tipica dei grandi artigiani italiani.
Queste etichette, una diversa, simili ma diverse, aiutaci un attimo a leggerle.
Allora, diciamo che la grafica punta su uno stile minimal e molto moderno, che rompesse anche un po' col passato della comunicazione aziendale. Appunto è uscito con con la novità assoluta del Prosecco rosato, e che quindi era appunto una rottura col passato, ma che poi accompagna anche negli altri prodotti. Quindi ogni prodotto, così come ogni persona ha il suo carattere, anche ogni prodotto ha il suo vestito che l'accompagna, con cui si riconosce, no? Questi cerchi pieni e vuoti che si sormontano e che vanno a richiamare appunto le bolle del Prosecco, in stile minimal, appunto con questo nero che ritorna su tutte le bottiglie, con il braille, che è questa finitura superficiale a rilievo lucido che va a inserire anche una nota tattile, no, nell'etichetta, perché l'etichetta non è solo da vedere, ma anche quando la si prende in mano la bottiglia deve comunicarci delle emozioni. E poi la lamina che è differente in ogni bottiglia e che appunto va a connotare il carattere e l'anima del prodotto.
Io devo dire che mi piacciono molto e
Grazie.
ti ringraziamo per questo video, per la collaborazione e
È
ti
stato un
aspettiamo.
piacere. Volentieri.
Ciao.
Again, Roberto. Everybody likes the final result. It certainly leaves its mark and communicates greater value and prestige, as befits a superior quality sparkling wine line. The bottles with the new image help to generate added value for the entire sales chain and better distinguish the Anna Spinato brand from its competitors. In particular, in foreign markets where competition is fierce, this new look will help strengthen and consolidate the sales while protecting prices. It has been a complex job that today we do not have the time to investigate, but I would like to point out that the new packaging has found a precious point of balance and synthesis because it's able to satisfy our traditional consumer, characterized by a more classical and elegant style, but at the same time it manages to express a fresh and youthful image ideal to involve and motivate the increasingly large and relevant segment of millennials. And then let's face it, the style of these bottles faithfully reflects, as Valentina said, all the beautiful and good things that are made in Italy, which in the whole world are symbols of great refinement and quality. And it is precisely from there that I intended to restart to face and overcome the challenges of the next few years, the crucial ones of the restart. There's now a small and brief video of our customers and friends all over the world who wanted to say hello.
Ciao Roberto, ciao a tutti. Hi Anna, hi Roberto, hello everyone. This is a wonderful occasion. I always want to send our best regards here from Vancouver, Canada, to all of you. And I want to congratulate Anna, Roberto, and all the team at Anna Spinato for wonderful wines, a great new line, and I'm so proud of all your hard work and efforts and what has been accomplished. We've been working with you now, Style Brands and Anna Spinato, for over 25 years, and you're not just a supplier to us, you're not just another winery, you're like family, and we're very, very proud of you. So from my family to yours and to everybody, wishing you all the best, and again, congratulations. Salute.
G'day from Australia. We're very proud to distribute Anna Spinato wines. It's great to work with a family-run winery just like ours. Here's some places you can enjoy Anna Spinato. for a glass down under.
Congratulations, Anna. Team.
Lykke til med lansering av nytt design anaspinato i Norge. Skål!
Bonjour, ici la France, Johnny Gambacorta de gustolitalia.com. Je lève mon verre de Valdobbiadene Prosecco Superiore Anna Spinato et vous salue tous. À votre santé, chin chin.
Stunigasas from two wine merchants in Cyprus.
Cheers, Stunigasas.
Чао або привіт з України, зі славетного міста Києва. Я поздравляю Анна Спіната Вайнері і чекаю вас у нас в місті.
Those messages were really beautiful from all over the world. And thank you, everybody who's following us. I'd like to introduce a promising sommelier, Christian Maitan. The wines are being served at the moment, and he'll conclude this event with the wines tasting. I work with perfumes, so I'm an expert of aromas and perfumes, and I'm really looking forward to the wine tasting. Perfect. Here we go. Thank you very much. Thank you for the presentation. Let's taste the wines that we've seen. The first one is the glass on your left-hand side, the Prosecco DOC brewed by Anna Spinato. A bright glass in a straw yellow color with greenish reflections. Charming at the nose, initially with hints of citrus and yeast. It then lingers on green apple and white iris. Vibrant and tense taste, extremely pleasant, with breaths of freshness that bind to the lively carbon dioxide, encouraging you to drink. It ends with citrus and yeast notes. The ideal food pairings are aperitifs, seafood courses. A couple of days ago at my restaurants we tried it with bacala and the matching was spot on. The second glass, the one in the middle, it's Prosecco DOC Extra Dry by Anna Spinato. A really fleshy color between straw yellow and green. Apple, nashy pear gives fragrances of citrus, floral liqueurs in excellent fusion with each other. A creamy sip characterized by an excellent aromatic succession. The sugary softness is stimulated and balanced by a finely done carbonic maceration. The ending between pear and citrus is extremely pleasant. We tried it with bigolin salsa, a kind of bigger spaghetti with a seafood ragu, and it's extremely versatile also with starters. The last one, the most innovative glass of wine, Prosecco DOC Rosé, in the brut version by Anna Spinato. A delicate pink, shining with its own light. Fine and persistent pelage. There's a fascinated succession of currant, pomegranate, gooseberry, rose, and peach skin. The sip is rich of fruit with slightly floral notes, dynamic, fresh, balanced for what a Sharma method can be balanced. We can play with food with this wine. We can find some really interesting food pairings, like the one with pizza, which is something we're not really used to, but I can assure you that it's really good. Some other seafood courses, extremely typical food pairing is the one with some bread and the typical Venetian soppressa, which is a kind of salami. Now it's the time dedicated to questions. We are ready to answer any of your own questions. What about the residual sugar present in the extra dry one? It's around 12.5 grams per liter of sugar. 12.5. Waiting for new questions. I've received some questions from the online followers. What do you think? Will anything change after COVID, or will we get back to normality? What I think about COVID is that it's changed everything. Talking of work, not having any trade fairs and face-to-face interactions. All those video calls that were not really popular before COVID now are really used. In my opinion, human interaction is the most important one and is paramount for what concern the food and beverage industry. The wine taste, a face-to-face wine tasting is definitely different from the one you can do on a video call with thousands of kilometers dividing myself and the customer. And there are always some technical problems as well. What I think is that after this unfortunate period, is that these new techniques will be done also in the future. For instance, if I have to go to the USA to visit some customers and visit different customers within the USA, that will be definitely really, really expensive and difficult. But this way, with a video call for just one tasting, I think it's better. The problem is that when you have to support the sales team of your own importer, to be there for them, to establish a friendship relationship with your customer, the human presence in that case is fundamental and cannot be replaced. Are there any restylings going to take place in the future? As you may know, we have an organic and vegan friendly line of wines, and we're now thinking about adding some new organic wines, and there will certainly be some new innovations by the end of the year. If there's anything else, feel free to ask me. May I ask anything? 80% and more about export. What about Italy? Of course, Italy is our own country, our mother country, is paramount for our own company. If we've been focusing on the foreign markets for the last 20, 30 years, is because I really wanted to be an ambassador of my wine, of Veneto, of Italy abroad. But I also wanted to go back to Italy because I want our wines to be recognized in Italy as well. My father, for instance, was one of the first ones to come here to Venice to supply our wines to the typical bars called Baccari, and I'm really, really, really proud of that. Is there any question? First of all, congratulations for the new line of wines. They look really, really beautiful. As for organic and vegan friendly wines, the organic is more or less easy to understand. You cannot use some pesticides. What about the vegan? Is that's related more to the customer themselves. That's aimed to people who don't want to eat and drink anything linked with meat. So what we do, the presence of some meat in the wine industry is linked to some products to make the wine more clearer, and specifically it's a gel and some other products coming from milk and animal bones. We have separate products doing the same things, and they don't come from the meat world. What's important is that the vegan wine cannot be distinguished by the standard wine. It's just about the production, and the customer must trust the label and the vegan symbol. Getting back to the second question, which was a little bit more complex, and then Anna will say something about it. The social media communication intended for some specific and different markets, like in Latvia, Estonia, Nigeria, Poland. What we do is find out some key communication and sponsor some messages to get directly to the final consumer, and that allows us to, without spending much money, to be efficiently present in that country. Of course, all the communication is done in the local language. We're also always available to evaluate some of the more traditional ways of communication, like press, dedicated press, in collaboration with the importer, both for the brand in general as well as the launch of new products. And also this type of communication has been done and will be done with more and more investments, because the result is visible. It's just not about us, but also it's not about our own revenue, but also the one of the final importer. Because we all have to follow the same way, the same path. For instance, this event, which is being streamed online on our YouTube channel, I think is what must be done to communicate Italy all over the world. You can't see it now, but my words have been translated instantly in English. So we have two different channels, one in Italian and one in English. And that means that both Italian and foreign people have seen this, have seen and joined this event, but will also be able to watch this live afterwards, because the recorded videos will be available on our YouTube channel. So that means you can't just stay inside the winery. You have to go out and find something new to expose yourself. I completely agree with what Fabio said, because we have a really strong relationships with our all customers, and we are total disposal of them, and this is something I always say and let them know. I think that's enough. Any other questions? What about Raboso, Anna Spinato's Raboso? Well, Raboso is my favorite wine. Raboso in our dialect means angry. We do produce Raboso, and we have 4 different versions of Raboso. The standard one, the still one, the reserve one, then the semi-sparkling one. Well, actually, when I think about my wines, the first one coming to my mind is actually Raboso, because that was my first love. Before saying goodbye to all of you, I wanted to ask both Sarah and Luca to come here